So whenever I pull up to a show and I pull out one of these babies, everybody's like, oh, you have vinyl. You have vinyl. How cool. You have vinyl. And yes, it is cool. It is definitely cool to have vinyl. I'm glad I did it, but it was also an enormous pain in the ass. So let's talk about it. Back in 2018, I was playing a lot of shows and I was putting out a record, and everywhere I went in 2018, people were like, oh, do you have vinyl? Do you have vinyl? I want to buy vinyl. Do you have vinyl? And I was like, sure, I'll look into doing vinyl. Well, first of all, vinyl is very expensive to produce. A CD, just to give you an idea, this doesn't count the recording costs, but for me to have a CD produced and duplicated, even with a fairly nice, like high quality cardboard sleeve with like multiple pages, a digipack with multiple pages, it costs about $1 per CD. And if you make a bunch, it's more like 75 cents or 50 cents per CD. It's fairly inexpensive. However, in contrast, to make the smallest run of vinyl records that it is possible to make, which in 2018 was like 300 vinyl records, it was the smallest amount I could buy. It cost about $7.50 per record to make. And that was for just a basic front and back sleeve that included a download card, and that was just for the inner sleeve on the record. Inside is just a white sleeve, it's not printed, and the vinyl is just regular old black vinyl, and it has labels on it. So for all of that, this was a fairly basic version of how you can do records. It was like $7.50 per record. Now that doesn't count, though, the fact that in order to put out a vinyl record, you have to do an additional mastering process. So for those of you who don't know, when you record in a studio, the process is you record usually multiple tracks onto either a digital recording device, so it's captured in the computer, or you do it, say if you want to be retro, and you do it onto 2-inch tape. So that's the old-fashioned, like, ribbon tape that you used to see. You can record onto 2-inch tape, but you're still sort of processing that through the computer. So you'll either all be in one room and you'll all play it at once, and it'll capture, the drums separately from the vocals, separately from the guitars, so that if you need to go back and fix something, you can. Or you could all record each piece of it separately with a click track, which keeps you on time, and then you can, again, punch in and go and correct things as you go along. On 2-inch tape, the punch-ins are a little bit complicated, but on digital, it's very, very easy. So you have everything on this digital file, this digital mixing board, and then you'll have a sound engineer mix the song together so that it all sounds good. And you can talk to the sound engineer about how you want different levels to be, if you feel like the drums are too loud, if you feel like the vocals aren't loud enough, if you want this piece of the solo to only be in this section of the song. Like, you go in and you make the song what you want it to be. And that's called the mixing. And the sound engineer will send you the mixes, and you'll hate them and have a full panic attack the first time you hear them, and then you'll calm down, and then you'll listen to them again and you'll be like, oh, it sounds pretty good. Here's the things I want to fix. But then after that, you have to, if you want it to sound good on all different platforms, like if you want to make sure that your song sounds good, if it's played on the radio, if it's played on a car stereo, if it's played on the computer, if it's played on your phone, if you want it to sound good across those different platforms and not be like weirdly too loud or weirdly quiet, or to have like pieces of like, so you could only hear the vocals, that is what's called a mastering process. And the mastering engineer will go in and listen to the mix and look for things that could cause audio issues on various types of platforms. And the mastering tech will do that for digital. So they will master it for CD and digital, which means that it's going to sound great on the CD, it's going to sound great if it gets played on the radio from the CD, and it's going to sound great on your computer or on your device. But mastering for a vinyl record is completely different. So if you want to do a vinyl record of your music, you have to pay for yet another mastering session for all of your songs to be mastered for vinyl. And I want to say my mastering tech, who's really wonderful, Piper Payne, she's very, very talented, and she mastered my CD, I want to say for like $80 a song or something like that. $80 a song. And then you have to pay that again to do the vinyl record, because the way that the songs closest to the center of the record are mastered is different from the way that the songs on the farthest outside of the record are mastered, in order for it to sound good on each position in that circle on the vinyl record. So I had to pay for the vinyl. I had to pay for the sleeve and for the inner sleeve and for the printed label on the center of the record and for it to be wrapped and for them to put download cards in. And then I also had to pay for mastering. And it's really cool. I love vinyl. I grew up with vinyl. I am a child of the 80s. Like, I had a Fisher-Price record player that I used to play storybooks on and used to play music on, and it does have an unmatched warm sound. Like, the quality of sound on a vinyl record is wonderful. I love it. However, producing a vinyl record is something that fans have no idea how much it costs. Like, it's so expensive. Oh, and I didn't even get into the part about like getting it from the record plant. So in order to purchase it from the record plant, I had like 300 vinyl records was the smallest amount that I could get. But then they had a minimum order for the record sleeves of 500. So, and that was true for the inner vinyl record labels as well. So I bought 300 vinyl records packed in the sleeves, and then I also have 200 extra sleeves and record labels in case I ever do another run, which I'm not going to do because it was so expensive and such a pain in the ass. And I wanted to get my CD out in 2018, get the album out in 2018 in the fall. And I had heard that there were long delays because record plants are very slow and there aren't very many of them. And so they're overextended, they're oversubscribed, I guess, and they're really busy. And so there's a delay. So I knew that there was a lot of lead time. So I started the process of trying to find a place to have this record made like 6 months before our release date. And with all of the delays and all the shipping and all the stuff, like, it got there like 3 days before my record release party, my record release show. Like, it was there like 3 days before. I was pretty sure it wasn't going to make it in time. And for those of you who've ever tried to move any large volume of vinyl records knows they are very heavy, and so shipping 300 vinyl records isn't like shipping anything normal. Like, it was a special like expediting company. It arrived on a pallet. Like, my vinyl records arrived on a pallet off of the back of an 18-wheeler truck. So I had them delivered to my work because I wasn't going to be home when they were delivered. And, they call me at work and I come downstairs and I have to figure out what to do with a pallet of vinyl records. So I ended up, just piling them up in the lobby of the building where I worked and talked to the security, and they're like, yeah, that's fine. So I left it in the lobby for a couple hours while I finished my work day and then managed to stuff them all in my car. So all that to say, you can buy the remaining like 200 vinyl records that I still have since 2018 on my TikTok shop. It's a very cool record. It's an album I'm really proud of. With All Its Thorns was a really great album. And it does sound great, and it does come with a download card so that you can download all of the songs onto your digital device in case you want to listen to them away from your record player. It makes a lovely addition to your record collection, and you should buy them because I am never making them again. And this is your last chance.